What is going on, X community? Exostomp here, and today, people, we're going to be doing the power rankings for week number 5. And of course, joining me like usual is RibombeeTeacher.
What's going on, guys? RibombeeTeacher in the house, and this week I escaped from underneath Exo's bed in the spare room. He tried tying me up, but unfortunately, I'm a big lad, so tie me up with very thin string. Probably not the best decision he's ever done. Broke out pretty easily. He couldn't quite get rid of me this time. Sorry, guys.
That's the only string that I had, okay? Jeez. Okay, well, I tried, guys. Anyways, so, I do want to mention before we go on to top 10 that Sandy Snails, both of them did drop, so we do have 2 new coaches. Not sure how well they'll be doing because I haven't seen them play. They're 2 brand new coaches for us in the EDL, so it will be interesting to watch them play. As well as, I just want to mention this, the Bodacious Barachis are flying up. They're now number 11. They actually have a solid chance to make it to you know, the 8th seed at least, and maybe even farther.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely gonna be interesting. Mathematically, the Sandy Snails are out of playoffs anyway. They can't catch up from where they are. But it'll be interesting to see what they bring to the table. They do have some pretty interesting matches. They actually play Licky Pythons this week, which is gonna be tough for them. And then Spooky Burger, and then the King Kings.
Oh my god.
So they've got an interesting schedule, rather challenging schedule for them. But they're brand new. We don't really know much about them, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. And my god, I'm glad I don't play the Barachis. That's all I'm saying right now. Those guys looked pretty terrifying.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so I guess moving on to now number 10, we have Nico Father. So I believe this was one of the games that did not go.
No, it's true. They would have played against us.
Right. So, they waited to sort of schedule last minute, and then you guys were busy, and it wasn't really fair to you guys because you guys were sort of waiting the whole week for them, and so I think I just gave you guys a win, but with no differential, just so like it's a little more fair, like, you know, so you guys will, just to make it a little more fair at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate. I mean, we did actually schedule on Friday to play on Sunday, and then unfortunately, Boop had some other stuff come up, and then like at the end of the day, like we just couldn't ever catch each other because I had to go because I had to be up the following morning. Like I literally waited till like 4 hours before I had to wake up, so it was pretty unfortunate. I was actually looking forward to that game because we had a pretty interesting matchup. We had a rather fun team prepped, but yeah, ultimately it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, because this week you guys will notice a lot of these games will be forfeits, and 1, it's not fun to go over and watch because there's nothing to watch, but 2, it's just this. I think last week there was some really interesting games that could have happened that just didn't happen, and I really was interested to, well, I guess, watch yours, watch mine that didn't go off, watch, I think, there was like 2 other games that just didn't go, and I think it would have been interesting to watch them, so it really sucks. But let's move on to number 9, I guess. So number 9, again, I believe this is another forfeit. So this was against the Sandy Snails. So they both tried to quote-unquote schedule. Basically, Sylvie asked, I think Sylvie said, like, would tomorrow be okay? And it was like Friday or Saturday. And Sandy Snails said yes. And then nothing happened. So I just gave both of them forfeit losses because they didn't try to keep going with it. And none of them really put in the effort to be like, hey, I'm ready when you are. And so if someone did that, you know, they would have maybe gotten a forfeit win if the other person didn't answer. So, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. It is what it is. Ultimately, the Snails ended up dropping, so I don't quite know if that was what caused the issue. Not sure.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. Moving on to, of course, you guys at number 8. Again, not much to talk about. It was another forfeit, but this was a forfeit win for you. It would have been like you said, a pretty interesting game. You guys were gonna bring some cool sets, so sad to not be able to really see them. But maybe next game. I'm not sure who you guys are versing next.
We're playing the Dragapods actually, so gonna be an interesting one.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be really interesting.
If the match actually goes ahead, which to be fair, the Dragapods have been pretty good with. So
yeah, it's a little weird. Like a lot of the people that I don't regularly talk to have been playing their games like on time or you know, at least doing their games, which is a little, you know, it's really good to see. It really is, because these are people that I haven't talked to or you know, like regularly, and it's good that they're keeping up with it. And then I don't know, the other, like some of the people that I do talk to, they don't play their games, which I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know if it's them being busy or whatever, but hopefully we can, you know, maybe get the last 2 or 3 weeks to get everyone to play their games. That would be really great.
that would be nice. I mean, it's nice for us to be in the top 8. We're in the playoff spots, but I'd rather have earned it rather than just be given it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's just me as a person. I hate not playing my games. You know me how too well by now, X. I'm the last person that wants forfeit wins.
Oh yeah,
it's just the way it goes.
Yep. Speaking about another forfeit win, we have Kink Kings. Okay, so I never expected Kink Kings to be up here in playoff, in a playoff seed, but you know what? They're here because no one's playing the games. So I'm pretty
That's probably
sure
their biggest win condition, to be fair.
Yeah. I
obviously I'm joking because it's Rabbit, but
yeah.
In fairness, they did win one of the games that they actually played, which annoyingly was against us, as well as against Stormfire and Dara as well back in week 2. So it's not like they haven't won games.
Oh no, but it's definitely funny to see them.
What's funny is this is their best win.
Yeah.
On differential.
Yeah, you know, I think honestly, if they do play their games, and they do play as well as they were, then they could stay here in a decent seed. Like 7th isn't the worst. At least you're in playoff. So yeah, like I would
it's
like
worth pointing out they are on the exact same win-loss and differential as us. So like us and them could be literally either way around. So
yeah,
it's one of those where it's like, how do you judge who's on the tiebreaker? And personally, I don't necessarily mind.
It's literally they're both forfeits, so I don't really know. I just put.
Well, I mean, in fairness, if it was the way I would have done it, they technically would have been ahead because they actually beat us in week 3. So.
Well, that is true,
that would
and
have been
also
my reason for putting them ahead.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense. Yeah. I believe they are versing, who was it? Spooky Burger for week 6. Who are they versing? Yeah, for week 6. So that's gonna be a fun game. Hopefully that can go well. Speaking of a Spooky Burger, number 6 is Spooky Burger. So they did fall down a little bit. I believe they did win their game. This is a game that actually went off, guys, which is great.
They won 1-0, literally.
Yeah, so
at the last second.
It would have been a 2-0, and I did talk about it with at least Burger and a few others, that they got a -1 differential, basically for breaking the timer rule without asking, like, what's the rule against, like, timers. They just, I know Spooks basically asked me and then immediately turned it on. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, guys, if you have a question about the rules, either look at them, ask the person that's been in here since season 1, like your partner, or just wait for me to answer. I usually answer within 10 minutes. So
or
yeah.
just don't turn the timer on.
Yeah, don't be impatient.
Like, I mean, this is a partner league. Like, anyone that's played many a partner league before, I've played a few, especially this year. They do tend to go on relatively long games. They're never going to be short games because you've got the variable of two people talking about the same move on both sides. Like, this isn't like a standard draft game when it's 1v1, where you've got your own mind to think about, and that's pretty much it. And everyone still memes on me because I'm a slow player naturally anyway. But yeah, like, there's no point on the time run. Just play your game. There's no point worrying about it. Like, we've had some very long games this season already. I think Record Ham holds the record for the longest match this season. But, you know, I've played like hour-long games, no problem. My longest game's nearly 2 hours. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Well said. So this was the number 5 is mine, and now Solo's team. Transel did drop. That's just something to note. But we prepped a pretty fun team, and we were not able to play. We were trying to schedule, and on the last day we were like, "Yo, we're ready." It was like 9 o'clock or something, and Panda, shout out to Panda. He's probably gonna be watching this, be like, hey, no, but he said, hey, I'm gonna be playing Among Us instead of playing the game, and then he joined the game. Which, you know, sometimes that happens. You know, you're in playing something else, but if it's like something like Among Us, where it's like you could literally stop playing, or you know, and focus on a game for like 30 minutes and then go back on. I don't know. I feel like I would have just stopped the game and played the match that was already on an extension, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's kind of sad we don't actually get to talk about a game, but we can talk about the replacement, of course. Obviously, real life stuff is a bit of a bind for a lot of people, so we do wish Transel well. Obviously, our doors are open if you need us. But it does make for an interesting dynamic change, because Transel and Solo are probably the two most opposite type of players that I can think of. When you've got Transel, that's often a lot more passive and more calculated, and then you've got Solo, that's probably one of the most aggressive players I know. It definitely makes for an interesting partnership, because obviously we know Solo to be a bit more on a hyper offense style of play. He tends to do as much damage as physically possible. I don't know how well that's going to work alongside you, who generally, while you are aggressive, you're not as aggressive. So it does make for an interesting dynamic. Be interesting to see what Solo brings to you guys, as you do actually play us in week 7. So that's going to be interesting to see how you stack up. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to watching you guys actually play and see what happens. Because who knows, it could be an upgrade of the century, or you could fall flat on your face. The one thing that is unfortunately hard for you is the fact you're playing Missing No Bros this week. So that does make for a fun match. And it's definitely a good one to kind of test where Solo's at. Because after that, you play us and then Record Ham. So,
oh yeah,
games that you could potentially win all 3. You could potentially lose all 3.
yeah. This is gonna be a good final stretch. I would like to mention that, like you just said, Solo is pretty offensive, and basically, well, we have Mandibuzz, we got Vaporeon, we got like Stunfisk. He looked at the team and he's like, I need more offensive mons here.
I know, that's exactly my first thought. Like, I'm just like, as soon as I look at your team, I'm like, this is a Transel team. And then I'm like, oh, so now Solo's playing? I'm like, okay, so we can expect like Choice Banded Vaporeon, Life Orb Mandibuzz. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, it is. Gonna be interesting.
We're bringing Weak Armor Nasty Plot to at least one game, okay? I swear if it doesn't come, you can replace me as host, alright?
I don't know if I can handle that. That means I'm on the screen again.
Oh no.
I've been enjoying being on this side.
Hey, I'm not even on the screen. It's alright.
Oh, you can tell it's been a boring week.
Moving on to top 4, we got, so as you can see, no one has moved. But Launching Dragapults, they did play this week, if I'm not mistaken.
They played Missing No Bros, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really, really good game. It came down to the wire. Missing No Bros barely won it. And yeah, it was really interesting to watch. If you guys haven't watched it yet, definitely watch that. That was probably one of the best, probably the best Week 5 game, because it's not many, but also because it was a really good game to watch. Basically, it came down to if Cinderace could pull out the win and not miss, and it actually hit. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was nice for them. Unfortunately, the Scyther seemed to like getting power hacked, which definitely did kind of suck. It did kind of limit the possibilities for the Dragapults to actually pick up the win. It definitely looked like there was opportunities for them to win, but the power kind of ruined them. Also, missing like Will-O-Wisp definitely was not particularly nice for them, especially as it was turn 3 or turn 2 rather, and that kind of really puts them on the back foot. Would have been a nice target to get the Willow on. But yeah, it was a decent effort from the Dragapults to limit the missing numbers to literally 1 differential. Is something that a lot of teams have struggled to do this season. They had opportunities to win the game, but Hacks kind of lost them for them. But obviously the Cinderace still had to hit its moves, which fortunately for the missing numbers it did. So decent game nonetheless. But I kind of hope the Dragapults don't beat us.
Oh, you guys versing them this week?
Right. Oh yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Yeah, that'll definitely be a really fun game to watch. But moving on to number 3, we have the Primal Leaky Pythons. Again, another really nice game to watch against two really strong opponents, or I guess 4 really strong people. And yeah, it was really, really interesting because the game could have went either way, I feel like, for most of the time, until there was a certain play that sort of, I guess, turned the tides and gave Spooky Burger the win. And I don't remember what turn it was, but I'm pretty sure it was the play where like the Decidueye was able to just freely set up an SD, and there wasn't much that Lucky Pythons can do about it at that point.
Well, not exactly. It was more they misplayed the Crawdont. I don't know if they miscalced or whatever, but the Crawdont not killing the Decidueye meant that actually the Crawdont couldn't sweep. The Decidueye lived on about 8%. Right. And then primarily just swept with Leaf Blade. There was actually no SD set up in the dying moments where the game actually ended.
Oh, right.
But, yeah, it literally came down to a miscalc by the looks of it. I'm assuming the Decidueye had some semblance of health on it, given the damage, because that is an adaptability Crawdont. Looking Aqua Jet, it's not a weak move by any means. But yeah, the Decidueye lived. Had it gone down, it probably would have won. I don't know the calc on Surfetched, but that was the other Pokemon that was left. It would have had to have done like 80%, which was possible, although the Surfetched did have first impression, so not sure. But yeah, it was definitely an awkward one. Could always be a problem. But I think, yeah, it was a very, very close match.
I feel like the biggest misplay was not sacking Blissey, and like they went into into Runerigus on a Leaf Blade, which they could have lived, and they actually did live, but since they swapped in, they couldn't get an attack off, which is huge because if they were able to get attack off, they definitely had a better chance of winning. I'm not sure if how much speed the Surfetched had. It might have had enough to outspeed the Crawdont always, but yeah, I'm not sure. But it definitely would have been better to sack the Blissey at that point, because with 2 physical Pokemon left, you don't really need Blissey. It's really just there to be a sack. So yeah, keeping Runerigus was probably the better decision there.
I did like the weakness policy Runerigus idea though.
Oh yeah.
I kind of see why they went for it, but yeah, it was not the optimal play in the long run. But I don't think it necessarily would have mattered. The Surf Etch does have Scrappy, so it's possible close combat would have killed anyway.
Well, see, the thing
I don't know
is,
the actual numbers or whatever. I haven't done the calc, so
if they did have, I feel like if they had weakness policy, they should have had Trick Room. If they went for Trick Room on the Leaf Blade and popped the weakness policy, I don't think that there was any way. Oh no, they did have First Impression. I guess it just depends. But yeah, I think it would have been a little more interesting to keep the Rune Regus a little bit for later. But
it was definitely more optimal to keep it. But how much it would have made a difference in the long run, not entirely sure. We'll never know, obviously. But either way, it made for an interesting match. It was a pretty fun one to watch.
Yeah, it was a really, really good game. Yeah, moving on.
Who knew Urshifu wasn't strong? Gab.
Moving on to number 2, we have the Rowdy Rillabooms here. So, they sort of crushed the Houston Helios. Mainly because the Houston Helios, I think, just sort of gave up. They're sort of just memeing now, or not even sort of. They are memeing now. They brought
I was watching a rabbit game for a second.
Well, I mean, it is Duke. Like, Duke's on that team, so you know they were partners last time, so you can expect memes. I think they brought like Physical Alakazam and Togekiss and Roselia, the Swords Dance Roselia. Oh my god.
Oh, the Swords Dance Roselia was hilarious. I liked it. They did bring Power Split Shuckle, which was kind of funny. I don't think they realized that Power Split, I'm pretty sure, only swaps boosts. So that definitely didn't quite go according to plan. I think they were meant to run Power Trick, which would swap their defense and attack round. I think that's probably what they were supposed to be running, but they didn't. I have no idea. I was just watching the game completely confused, to be honest. I literally thought I was watching a King Kings non-tryhard game. And I was just like, well, this game's over pretty fast. Hitmonlee actually picking up 2 kills, which is nice for it. But yeah, not really much to say for the Rillabooms. They had a pretty free game this week. Whether they'll get more of those, who knows? They do play Hapini Slaves this week, and then they play Missing No Bros, and then RibombeeTeacher. So, very interesting to see where they end up finishing. Will they actually remain undefeated? Or will they drop a couple of games? Because they don't really need to try hard too much now, and they're pretty much locked into playoffs.
Oh, yeah. There is... Well, actually, we'll get onto that in number 1. But, yeah, I definitely think that... who are they versing for the rest of the weeks?
They play Missing No Bros week 7, so one team's going to have one loss, regardless. And then, given the fact they have to play Combat and me in the last week, and we still have something to fight for, it'll be interesting to see what they bring against us.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be really, really interesting.
Assuming, of course, we win our next 2 games. It'll make it even more interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, damn. I really can't wait for at least next week, Missing No Bros versus Rowdy Rillabooms. That's going to be a really good game. But, speaking of Missing No Bros, we have the Missing No Bros at number 1. They haven't moved. Now, I will like to mention that Rowdy Rillabooms and Missing No Bros do have the same differential. The only reason why I put Missing No Bros at number 1 is because they did verse a way harder opponent, being of course the launching Dragapults, and the Rowdy Rillabooms versus the last seed. So it only makes sense that they should be a little bit higher because they did win. It was, like I said, a closer game, but yeah. They were versing launching Dragapults, which is number 4, which is definitely not the easiest opponent.
And also, to be fair, they were number 1 like the entire time. So it's like, it's not really fair to move them down when, in fairness, they've been at the top the whole time. They've been consistent more than the Rillabooms have had a couple of somewhat scrappier wins. Obviously, they are still probably in equal strength. So it's interesting to kind of watch both teams. Who's going to be the one that drops the ball in week 8? That's going to be the real big one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what they bring this time around. Like we said with the Rillabooms, they're pretty much locked into playoffs at this point. They can lose the last 3 games and potentially still make it. So I'll be interested to see where they go. Do they start doing some fun stuff, or are they going to try hard and try and go undefeated? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. But yeah, guys, I will like to mention that if you guys are struggling at trying to schedule your games, what you can do is find out, like, ask in scheduling before even the week starts. Maybe it's like week 6 and you want to play for week 7 and you're not sure because you're busy. Just ask your opponent. You don't have to wait for the actual week. If you're busy the actual week of, you can be like, hey, we might need an extension. But yeah, definitely try to schedule your games, guys, because these last 3 weeks are going to be tight. You can still make it, most of you guys. The people that, of course, haven't won a game yet, you could still, you can have some fun. You could make some random sets. But yeah, a lot of people, you're still in the running. So don't count yourself out, and play your games and just have fun, all right?
I'm pretty sure it's only the bottom 3 that can't make it now. So maybe. Oh, Recordham could potentially still make it, but they have to like 6 out of their last 3 games, and then hope other teams don't. So yeah, it's gonna be tough for them, especially given who they're playing. So,
oh
yeah. Given the fact they play an Eco Father this week, and then they're launching Dragon Balls, then you guys. So yeah, I don't see them getting playoffs at all. But yeah, statistically, there's quite a lot of teams that can still make it. Which makes for an interesting season for sure. But yeah, we'll see who makes the top 8. I'm looking forward to it. Fingers crossed it's RibombeeTeacher, because hashtag rep your team. Let's go.
Yeah.
Them Barachis though are way too terrifying. I feel
Yeah.
sorry for who has to play them right now.
I definitely want to I definitely want to see them make it from, I think it was like the bottom seed, and then go all the way to like maybe top, no, not top 4, but like maybe make it to like 6th or 5th seed,
The thing is, their games are really winnable. They play the Helios this week, who are out. They play the Hapini Slaves, who are pretty much playing themselves out. And then the last one's missing Emirates.
Well, okay, that one's gonna be
and given the fact that the Barachis are on the rise pretty heavily right now, I'd almost back them on Form Guide to beat the missing Emirates. So we'll see how well they play. They've got winnable games, so they could easily sneak up there. Hopefully they don't, but nah, I'm joking. I hope they do, actually. It'll be a good story for them. Plus, I did predict the Barachis, if they did play well, I did predict them to be number 2, so I want them to do well, so I was proven right.
Yeah. Some of these teams I feel like should be down here, and some shouldn't. But that's really all, like, that's mainly coaches. Like, you can never expect, like, I guess going back to if you guys were in GPL, I know some of you guys were. Season 3, where I had probably the most overpowered team on paper, but I didn't know how to use it. Sort of the same thing with some of these teams. We're like, there's some really good teams, but they just don't know how to use them. So.
Oh yeah, Helios were my number 1 pick. They were my number 1 post-draft pick, and they're right at the bottom. Like, that says everything you need to know.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, this was the week 5 power rankings. If you guys enjoyed, of course, leave a like. Hopefully we can get some games going for week 6. Good luck to everyone in week 6. And yeah, do you have anything to say, Ribombee?
As always, guys, make sure you stay safe, make sure you have fun, make sure you stay awesome, wash your damn hands, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.